Hidden beneath a forced canopy of trees in the heart of China lies a secret that shatters the official history of the East. They aren't hills, they are hundreds of restricted pyramids. And just like Giza in Teotihuacan, the Chinese pyramids are mathematically aligned to mirror the belt of Orion. The global master grid is hiding in plain sight. At Yangshan Quarry lies the largest cut stone in history, 16,000 tons, 13 times heavier than the blocks of Baalbek. Featuring the exact same knobs found on the megalithic walls of Peru, this is not a cultural coincidence. This is the same technological signature left by the same architects on opposite sides of the planet. The builders were global. Then, there are the Long U caves, 24 subterranean chambers carved with machine-like precision directly into solid rock. How did they illuminate the dark? Zero smoke residue on the ceilings. Millions of tons of rock were extracted to create this complex. Yet the excavated debris has never been found. The tool marks match modern industrial mining. Chinese legend speaks of the Yellow Emperor, a godlike civilizer who descended from the stars to bring writing, metallurgy, and law. He is the Eastern incarnation of Thoth and Quetzalcoatl. The master grid was being completed. The East was being locked into the Anunnaki timeline. And they will do anything to keep it hidden. At the center of this restricted Eastern grid sits an anomaly that the establishment desperately wants you to ignore. The Great White Pyramid. Standing an estimated 1,000 feet tall, it is twice the size of Giza. First photographed in 1945 by a U.S. Air Force pilot, it requires 50 million tons of stone, a logistical impossibility. Today, it is completely cordoned off by the Chinese government. Excavation is strictly forbidden. The state has actively ordered the planting of fast-growing trees over these structures to disguise them as natural hills, a literal, physical cover-up of the ancient timeline. But the math doesn't lie. Millions of tons of rock missing from the Long U caves, that debris was repurposed. It was processed to build the pyramids of the Eastern Grid. Mainstream historians attribute these monumental sites to later Chinese emperors, pointing to discoveries like the Terracotta Army. But they are looking at the wrong timeline. The first emperor's tomb sits beneath an unexcavated pyramid, described in ancient texts as a mechanical replica of the universe, flowing with rivers of lethal, liquid mercury. The truth that breaks the mainstream narrative? These later empires did not build the pyramids. They claimed the Anunnaki Grid and repurposed it as a graveyard. The original architects abandoned this outpost long before recorded history, but they left behind a terrifying final warning. Buried in the sacrificial pits of Sanxingdui. In 1986, workers accidentally unearthed an anomaly historians are terrified to explain: the lost civilization of Sanxingdui. They found over 13,000 highly advanced artifacts, including colossal bronze masks that look nothing like ancient Chinese ancestors. Historians call them stylized mythological art. But on this channel, we know what they really are. These are depictions of the ruling class, non-human biology from the Paracas skulls, massive cranial volume, unique optical structure. The Anunnaki did not hide their faces here. They also unearthed a 9-foot bronze statue. His hands are molded to hold a cylindrical object missing from the archaeological record. a piece of advanced technology deliberately removed. Because the Sanxingdui culture didn't just fade away naturally, they were the victims of the exact same Anunnaki civil war that vaporized the Middle East. Every single artifact found in these pits was deliberately destroyed. They were systematically broken, burned, and buried. This wasn't a peaceful ritual. It was a violent, desperate eradication. A targeted extermination protocol to wipe the outpost from the master grid. The surviving faction erased the evidence, ensuring that future human generations would have absolutely no memory of the gods who ruled them. But the bronze ghosts survived. And they aren't the only anomaly the architects left behind. Deep in the Kaidam Basin, there is a mountain that shouldn't exist. A mountain filled with alien plumbing. Deep in the desolate Kaidam Basin sits a structure that defies all natural geology, Mount Baigong. Because this isn't just a mountain, it is a ruined machine. In 1996, researchers discovered dozens of metallic pipes embedded inside the caves of the mountain, plunging deep into the earth. An intricate, highly organized network of ancient plumbing. These pipes extend from the mountain into the saltwater lake, ranging from massive conduits to microscopic capillaries. Ancient, and 8% of the material unidentifiable. Terrified by the implications, the academic establishment rushed to label these pipes as fossilized tree roots. Tree roots do not form perfectly hollow, concentric iron grids. This was an industrial facility, a massive Anunnaki energy or refinement plant stationed on the Eastern Grid. The pipes functioned as a massive, high-volume cooling system, drawing salt water from the lake to regulate the extreme temperatures of whatever the architects were generating deep inside the mountain. Until the facility was abandoned or destroyed. Today, the mountain sits totally isolated, a radiated dead zone, the ultimate proof that humanity did not invent industrial engineering. We just inherited the ruins. But the Anunnaki didn't just build in China in the Middle East. To complete the global grid, they had to cross the ocean. And they left identical blueprints behind. The Anunnaki master grid was not confined to Eurasia. To stabilize the planet, the architects had to bridge the Pacific. And they left the exact same blueprints on the other side of the world. Mainstream historians insist that the Mayan and Aztec civilizations developed entirely independently, completely isolated from the old world. But the mathematical architecture makes this impossible. East Asian tombs and Mesoamerican pyramids share an identical tier design, separated by an ocean, built by the same hand. Aligned to Orion, just like Giza, just like China. There is a trail of sunken megaliths across the Pacific floor, pointing toward the Americas, a route used by the survivors of the reset. And they brought their gods with them. Legends speak of Quetzalcoatl, a civilizer from the sea who brought mathematics, agriculture, and the calendar. He is the exact same Anunnaki architect. Quetzalcoatl gave the Maya the most accurate astronomical calendar in the ancient world, a calendar obsessed with tracking deep cosmic cycles and planetary resets. Just like in China and the Middle East, the architects abandoned the grid, leaving humans alone with technology they couldn't understand. Desperate to bring the gods back, the humans resorted to blood sacrifice. They mimicked the masters, but the masters were gone, moving further south to anchor the final, most impossible piece of the global puzzle: the high-altitude ruins of Peru. To lock the final anchor of the master grid, the architects ascended to one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth, the high Andes. 13,000 feet up, no trees, no rollers to move stone. Here lie the ruins of Puma Punku, blocks of andesite, one of the hardest rocks on Earth, machined with impossible precision. Bronze Age tools would instantly shatter against the stone. Moving north to Cusco, the impossible engineering continues. Colossal, polygonal walls fitted together without a single drop of mortar. Not even a razor blade can fit between them. But look closely at the faces of these stones. They bear the exact same unexplained megalithic knobs found 10,000 miles away at the Yangshan Quarry in China. This was a single, synchronized, global construction project executed by the same ruling bloodline. The same architects, the same DNA. But the most terrifying similarity between China, the Middle East, and the Andes isn't what they built. It's how they left. Every single major megalithic quarry on Earth was abandoned instantly. Tools dropped, 16,000-ton blocks left in the dirt. A planetary cataclysm wiped the slate clean, leaving us to stare at the broken pieces of a machine we cannot comprehend. If the pyramids of China, the temples of Mesoamerica, and the megaliths of the Andes were all built by the same hands, what were they trying to contain? Connecting the megaliths, the mathematical alignments, and the subterranean reactors reveals the terrifying truth of the master grid. It was never just an architectural project. It was a quarantine zone, a frequency matrix designed to isolate and control a hybrid biological workforce. Earth is a closed system. The establishment is terrified of this evidence because the Anunnaki grid means we are not the masters of this world. We are the inmates. The Yellow Emperor, Quetzalcoatl, Thoth, they were not benevolent civilizers. They were the wardens. And they engineered us to worship them. When the workforce multiplied too fast, or factions went to war, they didn't just abandon the outposts, they initiated planetary resets. Our ancient cataclysms were engineered extermination protocols. And the bloodline that survived those resets, the descendants of the wardens, are still in power today, enforcing the quarantine, orchestrating the ultimate academic cover-up. But something is shifting. Across the globe, the energetic signatures of the master grid are beginning to fluctuate. The machine is waking up. From the hidden pyramids of China to the mathematical anchor of Giza, the ancient clocks are ticking again. The cycle is coming to its terrifying mathematical conclusion. The cycle of the reset. The wardens didn't just leave us here. They went back to the stars. And they left the machine on. Because the harvest is never over. It's just waiting for the next season. They are coming back. The question is no longer where they came from. The question is, What do we do when the masters return? Question the narrative, guard the truth. The forbidden timelines.